So in front of you is a 2023 Cadillac Escalade V-Series. And what does the V-Series mean? Well, that means that this SUV is paired with a 6.2-liter supercharged V8 engine that produces 682 horsepower and 653 pound-feet of torque, plus the ability to customize driving modes, including how loud you want the exhaust to be. Isn't that kind of special? So yeah, this is probably the most performance-oriented SUV you can get today, at least in terms of a full-size SUV, giving you a tremendous amount of space inside that is all completely appointed in absolutely beautiful, beautiful leather with suede wrapped all around you and absolutely amazing wood tones throughout. They have done a phenomenal job putting this package together. And it's surprising to me in the sense that I haven't really seen a lot of the technology that you see in here translate over to trucks yet. So, you know, I do a lot of videos on pickup trucks, and when I'm doing those videos, I talk to you about how the interiors have come such a long way. Well, I'm going to tell you something. The interior of this Escalade really is at a whole different level, and in terms of technology, luxury, everything else, I think the only thing I've ever reviewed that even comes close to this was the Jeep Grand Wagoneer that I recently reviewed, with a lot of really crazy technology in it as well. But yeah, this is definitely at a different level from anything else I've reviewed. Why? Because this has an MSRP of $150,000. You heard me correctly, $150,000. So if you have $150,000 burning a hole in your pocket and you want to know what type of SUV you should look at, this is probably the one you want to target. So Cadillacs have certainly had more of a bold distinction between them and any other SUV that's on the market. Some of the ways that they accomplish that is through the lighting and how they actually put and appoint lighting around the vehicle. You can see the LED strips that run down the front fenders. Definitely a signature look to the Escalade. So you can always tell when an Escalade is coming down the road. The LED lights and how they've made these very narrow headlight assemblies on the front give it a very executive, bold look when coupled with that very large grille. And again, this is the V-Series package, so it has a lot of really cool black accents throughout it and a very sport look to it, even though this is definitely an executive level SUV. Coming around the side, you can see the really, really beautiful dark tinted 22-inch wheels. And the tire size on these 22-inch wheels are 275/50 R22s. Bridgestone tires. One really nice touch is that they've put the Cadillac emblem right here on the interior portion of the dash, so if you're looking at it from the outside, you can actually see a very, very cool looking Cadillac emblem right there. Of course, you're going to have cameras all over this thing, including surround cameras. Nice Cadillac emblem right there, as well as a nice V emblem here on the door. This, of course, does have the automatic step sides. Walking around to the back, you can see how the taillights flank each side and go all the way up and down. If I turn them on and off, you can see how they do this really cool kind of graphic or animation. You have your 4-tip dual exhaust. Absolutely beautiful. I love this transition look where you have this kind of this black look right here that's cut into the rest of the vehicle. So regardless of the color you get this in, it's going to have this very, very cool kind of executive feel going all the way down the side of it. Let's take a look in the back of this vehicle. All right, once you lift the back lift gate, this has an AKG sound system. A lot of folks may not be familiar with that brand, but if you've been into studio recording at all, AKG is absolutely kind of a staple of the professional recording music industry. If you have microphones, headphones, things like that. And then your electronic folding seats right here. You have a 110 outlet right here as well. And this is a 7-passenger SUV, so 2 up front, 2 in the middle, and 3 in the back. You have some extra storage under here as well. It's not very deep. It's only about maybe 2 inches deep at the back portion, and it slopes down to about 3 inches deep right there. So under the hood is where all the magic happens. So this is the supercharged 6.2-liter V8 engine. It's paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission, And I'm going to tell you, this thing is absolutely buttery smooth going down the road. In terms of power output, how the power actually feels, it's really amazing. And this 10-speed transmission really feels great. It has all the right gearing in all the right areas. And if you want to turn this into more of a sport machine versus a luxury machine, you simply change it to sport mode, and you have an entirely different feel to it, which definitely emulates less speeds but more power, kind of like you would expect to feel, you know, in those older 5 and 6 speeds. But again, it's a 10-speed transmission, so it has every gear you need to be able to get power where you need it when you need it. But yeah, this is absolutely a powerhouse engine, especially when it's paired with that supercharger on top. All right, so we're going to go ahead and hop inside of this Escalade. Okay, so now that we're inside, we're going to kind of take a look around. So check out this absolutely beautiful high gloss wood trim that accents the interior. I mean, this is better than furniture grade quality. It's absolutely amazing what they're able to do with the wood these days in these vehicles, and how they place it, and how it looks just so custom molded into the interior. And yes, we're at the price point now where you expect that, but even if you expect it, it's still really impressive to see. Even the front dash has a very kind of unique pattern to it, which looks really nice. And it's all part of that AKG sound system, which is awesome. Up front here, I have the front augmented reality camera on currently. And this is really cool. So depending on where you're driving, this can feed different information to you. Over here, I can actually change some of those settings. So if I want to go here, I can change it to night vision, which really only comes on when it's dark, but it gives you a really cool kind of thermal view of what's going on at night. And then over here on the cluster, you can also switch to your gauge mode, which I think is going to be probably the display most people use because it's most pertinent to when you're driving. I tried driving around with the AR camera and the night vision, and after a while, you pretty much just want to gauge, so you switch it back to the gauge mode. But yeah, it is really cool, some of the technology that you get here in terms of how they're utilizing cameras on this vehicle. Down here, you have other features as well. Because this rides on a full air suspension, you have the ability to raise and lower the vehicle right here. You can also change through driving modes. And your driving modes all have their own independent settings on what you can do in each driving mode. So if we're on snow, ice, you can see what the settings are here. Under tow haul, you can see what the settings are. Under my mode, you can basically customize it so you can have the engine sound as loud or as quiet as you want, depending on how you want it to sound while you're driving. And you can put on touring mode. So everything kind of changes based on the mode that you have the vehicle in, including how it shifts, how the brakes feel, how the suspension feels, how loud the engine is, how responsive the steering is. And you can see all sorts of really great information on the screen as well. So you can go through, you can look at your fuel economy, you can check out acceleration information, average speed, timers, all sorts of different pieces of information are available through this absolutely massive display they have up front. And this is one of those vehicles you absolutely have to have the vehicle manufacturing sticker available because there's just so many features you're likely to miss one if you're not careful. So this has a 16.9-inch diagonal OLED infotainment screen. That's basically the screen you see right here. It has a 14.2-inch OLED reconfigurable instrument cluster, which you see right here. Has a 7.2-inch diagonal touch panel as well, and it has the AKG Studio Reference 36 speaker audio system. So again, you'll see all these little holes up here on the dash, and those are all basically where speakers are placed so you can hear them well throughout the vehicle. And then even, you know, if you look at the pillars right here, absolutely beautiful aluminum, and this is all suede. The whole headliner is suede. You have other speakers placed throughout that are aluminum with suede everywhere. Absolutely amazing. And then of course you have a huge panoramic sunroof up top. The stitching in the seats looks gorgeous. And then you have speakers here on the headrests as well. But again, at this price point, you may say, well, I expect that. But most people probably have never seen this type of technology in a vehicle because a lot of folks, including myself, don't get into $150,000 vehicles very often. On the steering wheel, you have all your controls here. You have your voice assist. You have all of your cruise control features here as well. And of course, this Escalade is going to have luxury features like adaptive cruise control, plus all of the safety features you could imagine, including things like automatic emergency braking, reverse automatic braking, auto seatbelt tightening, which is really weird when you first experience it. Basically, you get in, you put your seatbelt on, then when you start the vehicle, you actually feel the seatbelt tighten to be more comfortable or to be set properly for you. Of course, cross traffic alert, trailer blind spot alert as well, enhanced auto parking brake assist, has a theft deterrent package, HD surround vision, forward collision alert, forward pedestrian braking, rear pedestrian braking, has a brake pad monitor. That's kind of cool, so it lets you know the condition of your brake pads. Also lane keeping assist with departure warning as well. So yeah, there's a lot of technology from a safety perspective that are built into these vehicles as well. But the cool thing is you're starting to see that technology even on your more mainstream vehicles. So you don't have to have a vehicle like this to have that type of technology. Of course, you have your paddle shifting here. One thing I want to show you, which is kind of cool, I'm going to switch the driving mode here to, we're going to put it in my mode. I'm going to turn the engine sound all the way down, which it already is, and I'm going to rev it and see what you hear. That was actually really quiet. It sounded like you have a powerful V8 under the hood, but it wasn't that intrusive into the cab. Now I'm going to switch it to touring mode, which has the engine on its mid-level. And you can hear it a lot more there. I'm assuming it's resonating through the speakers, perhaps. I don't imagine they have a baffle system back there. And now I'm going to switch it to sport mode, which is going to put the exhaust sound on its highest level. So yeah, you can definitely tell the volume difference inside of the vehicle. So if you really want to hear that muscular sound, you can keep it in that mode and you can have it just constant all the time. But if you're on a long trip and you want it to be more tame, you can absolutely go to my mode. You can reconfigure everything in here the way you want it, so it's quieter and it's a lot more compliant to how you might want it to be when you're on a long trip. Of course, you have your camera back here, which you can disable by flipping it down. Very, very cool. In here you have USB, USB-C, you have a nice pocket right here, plus some cup holders right here, and a nice pocket over here as well. Here in your center console, more USB and USB-C connections there, as well as a micro SD card slot, plus you have some more pockets over here as well. Very nice. Let's hop out of the front seat, hop in the back seat, and see what's going on back there. Okay, so now we're in the back seat. It's very dark inside of here, so hopefully you can see everything. So what's really cool about the displays back here is that they're actually connected displays. So they use the internet in the vehicle, so you can actually watch shows and stuff like this. My daughter, on the way to school this morning, was watching Bluey, and she was able to pull it up on the screen, which is really nice. And the screens are integrated into the headrests very well. Nice clean look. It looks like a large tablet that's essentially attached to the back of the headrest in a very, very clean, ergonomic way. You have all your air conditioning controls down here. You have your USB-C plus your HDMI connections here if you want to plug something in and watch something else on one of these screens, or maybe you have like a game console. You have a nice little pocket here for both your drinks. That's very nice, and it's integrated in very well. Back here you're going to have heated seats. Little pockets behind each one of your seats. Plenty of leg room. So I probably have about 10 inches of leg room in this specific seat. But yeah, if you're a tall person in the back seat, it's probably going to still be really comfortable. You might just not have quite as much legroom back here. Nice speaker grills covering up some of the speakers around here as well. You have your power window controls, your air conditioning vent up here, as well as your reading light, another speaker right here as well. So for our daughter in her child's seat, you know, she has plenty of room. If she's going to be kicking her legs, yeah, she'll probably be kicking the back of this seat. But we usually place her in the center seat if we have an SUV. That gives her a lot more visibility. It's the safest seat in the vehicle, and she can see out the front very easily as well. Let's get back here to the third row and see what this is all about. Okay, so just like most third row SUVs, not a ton of room. It's not a bad place to be. For me, my knees just touch the back of the seat here. But if you have kids that are, you know, 5'5" or less, they should fit back here no problem. It's not uncomfortable. You definitely have enough room back here. It would be cool to start seeing some manufacturers putting drop-down center consoles right here so you can actually have an armrest. But it's not that bad of a spot to be, honestly. And you do feel like you're still part of the conversation, which is nice. So if you're sitting in the center, it's actually not bad at all. If you want the most room, sit in the center of the third row and you pretty much have first class seating. Maybe not the width, but you definitely have the length to be able to stretch your legs out on a long trip. But this is really cool. What do you guys think of the interior of this absolutely gorgeous 2023 Cadillac Escalade V-Series? So what do you guys think? Now that you've had a chance to take a look at the outside of this SUV and the inside, $150,000, but that's mainly because this thing's spec'd out with a supercharged 6.2 liter V8 that has almost 700 horsepower and almost 700 pound-feet of torque. So, you know, you take one of these fully loaded, they can get way up there in price. However, for most buyers who buy a new Escalade, they're probably going to be closer to that $95,000 to $105,000 price point, which definitely makes it competitive. If you don't need a big loaded out fancy Super Duty or, you know, Silverado or Denali pickup truck, and you're looking for a large SUV as a family hauler, you can't get much better than a Cadillac Escalade. Anyways, guys, we're gonna have this vehicle for several more days. So we're gonna be able to give you driving impressions, what we love about it, some things we may not like about it. But now is a great time. Take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.